I know that like most people around the world, all of our lives have been dramatically altered since this outbreak. And I know that you've had to make a lot of adjustments with Kids Groove. Um, how has your career path changed? Do you feel like you have to completely change everything and all your goals, or do you think this is just a matter of like, oh, I'm going to wait and things will get better? Like, like how from 1 to 10, how worried, how on alert are you that like, okay, we need to change everything versus everything will be fine?
I'm not planning that far ahead in the future because, if we're gonna be honest, we don't know what's gonna happen in the
Yeah.
future. Like everything is changing every day.
Hmm.
So I definitely recommend people to think of the now. What can I do now?
Yeah.
What can I know? What are the things that I can serve? Who are the people I can serve now, not next month or whatever. So that's why with Kids Group, I'm really trying to get this thing online so that I can help my co-choreographers. I can go back to mentoring kids online. I can somehow bring in more people to mentor kids, to help me mentor kids. And I want to bring in like different guests, like I want to bring in you and talk to the kids and tell them that, your story and your parents forced you to be a nurse before, but you fought for your dreams. And look at you now, you have your own brand. I feel like kids need to hear that. Kids need to know, just like you said, like people just tell you about, oh, do this, become this, but they don't tell you the bad side or the
Hmm.
consequences of those things.
Hmm.
And kids
Hmm.
are so smart, dude. I know we try to like baby them, or try to like talk to them like little kids, and try our best to cover up as much truth as we can
Yep.
to
Yep.
somehow protect them, but that is not doing them any favor.
Hmm.
Okay, they're going to be out here in the world and they're experiencing it now.
Hmm.
And they don't understand it, right? Because nobody's explaining it to them properly. So yeah, I feel like we just need to start talking to kids like they're freaking adults, like tell them what the world is all about and how they can use their powers, how they are so important and essential that we can all just be powerful together, and we need them. We need their help. They're not just an accessory, you know,
Yeah,
that they can be leaders while they're young.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think one of the things that I often find troubling with a lot of people who are parenting is they oftentimes will extinguish their child's ambitions and their risk taking and their goals, and they'll say, oh well, do this because it's more safe, or do this because it's more secure. And
Hmm.
it's sort of, I'm sort of making jabs at the whole be a nurse kind of thing, which there's no nothing wrong with being a nurse, but it's one of those things where you know, like you said, a lot of kids are a lot more open minded, and they're a lot more
Hmm.
intelligent than we like to lead them on to believe. And I think that, we need to let children know that, like, you know, certain career paths and certain things aren't guaranteed, and life is
Yeah.
always changing and always flipping. And you have to be able to, learn to acquire new skills and be comfortable with taking risks and be comfortable with change, um, because how it sort of goes back into what you are doing with Kids Group. How we prepare our kids when they're in their earliest ages will eventually result in the type of adult that they will become. And I know that another project that you're working on that is something that's really important to you, is something called Maganda Forever. Can you tell us what Maganda Forever means and the vision that you have for this project?
So, Maganda Forever is basically a platform for women and for men. And the reason why I created it is because, well, the main thing is because it was like my tribute to my grandma who passed away. I never really got to hear her full story, but I know because I've experienced it, and there's just a lot of things. Her energy, I just know that she's a good person, and she died when she was like 89 years old. So can
Mm-hmm.
you believe like the history, the things that
So
you've done, the
much.
people you've touched, right? But you weren't able to share that with somebody. So she wasn't able to really share the whole thing, but she would always show me by example. She was such a giving person, even though she had nothing. She had nothing herself, but every time she would have a little bit of something, it would always be about giving others who don't have it at all. And as a kid, I would see that. And she did, she would just always tell me like, you just have to pray all the time and make sure that you're nice to people. And I feel like she was the first person who really taught me what love is and about God and all that stuff. So I wanted this platform to be something where women can share their story, share their journey, and just a platform to be vulnerable, also for men. Like maganda forever, it doesn't mean your face, it doesn't mean your skin, it doesn't mean your freaking job or your whatever. You're maganda forever, beautiful, which means beautiful forever because of the struggles you went through, the pain, the whole healing process that you had to do in yourself so that you are a better version of yourself for you, for your family, for you especially, and for people that you're going to be touching while you're here on earth. Um, that's basically what it's all about. And, after Kids Groove, again, I was so burnt out emotionally, mentally, physically. It was just everything. I literally started like crying, like just find myself crying privately and publicly. I would go grocery shopping, I'd be crying. I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? And I was like, well, what's wrong? And I would always ask myself, but really I didn't put myself in a situation where I was gonna quiet my mind and I was gonna face the things that I didn't want to face before, ask myself questions, go back into my childhood and ask myself like maybe because of this particular event, that's why this is how I'm reacting
Mhm,
to
mhm.
other people, to other people's emotions. And that was really the start of this brand. It was more like a personal healing journey. But then at the same time, I would realize I'm not the only one who's broken. Everybody that was a kid before and they turned into an adult, we are all freaking broken. Okay. Someone broke us. And we just have to acknowledge that. Because if you don't know or if you don't acknowledge that, how are you going to fix yourself? How are you going to heal yourself when you are not even willing to face the fact that something is going on with you? Something that you're not willing to share to people, something that you don't even talk to yourself about. And that platform is just to really be a safe place to be vulnerable, to tell your story. Because I was like, dude, Facebook and Instagram is not the place. Even though that's where I promote the brand, it just feels good to know that, oh, there's a platform that I could do this, or while I'm explaining this story, it's okay because I'm actually using this platform that, it's encouraging me to talk about my feelings and my emotions and not be so embarrassed about it, because really we're all the same. I can't quiet my mind. My heart is aching. I'm having a difficult time, even though people think like, oh, I have this background and I have this connection. We literally have the same goal, which is to experience that higher version of ourselves where we are in the present moment and we're not constantly like, you know, asking for other things outside of us because we already have it inside of us. But because of all these memories, all the things that are clouding us, the self-doubt, the fear, the anger, the self-pity, all that is just blocking us from being great, from being amazing and serving other people and showing people our capabilities and our powers. So it's crazy to me because no matter, I realize no matter how much I'm going to be an awesome mentor to these kids, if their parents are going through some shit that they don't want to face, and they don't want to acknowledge within themselves, these kids are going to go back to their homes and experience the same thing. And I'm not going to go anywhere with them. They're not going to grow because their parents are not growing with them.
Wow.
So that's basically, what Maganda Forever is. It's mostly for the parents, it's mostly for the moms to deal with whatever whatever it is that they had to experience in the past. Because my mom, she had a crazy past, and that's the reason why she wasn't really, I would I don't want to label her as a good mom, bad mom, but she was not the mom that she wanted to be because of all the things that happened to her in the past. And
Hmm.
instead of fixing that, instead of like healing herself, she just gave me her pain. She like inflicted and gave me her scars, you know? And now that I have a daughter, I don't want to pass that on to her, but I have it. I know I have it. And every time that um, I would explode in front of my daughter. I would always make it to the point where I apologize to her. I would explain myself. Why did I do that? Why did I react that way? And it's challenging, to explain to a kid that you were abused before. That's why you have this capability of abusing someone else too. But you just have to be creative with it. I explain it to her as like a zombie, being bitten by a zombie. No matter how small it is, no matter how small the bite is or big the bite is, once you're bitten by a zombie, eventually you're infected. You're also going to become a zombie, right?
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
told her, you have to help me. We have to be a team player. Once you see that mommy is not herself anymore, you tell me, okay? You tell me, like, mom, don't, you're hurting my feelings. Don't shout at me. Like, just teach your kids to communicate with you. Don't give them this impression that, oh, because I'm the parent and I'm older, I'm always right, and whatever you're saying, it does not matter and it's wrong, because we know we're not right all the time. We just don't have the heart to admit it, especially to our kids.
100%. I mean, like, I think what's really impressed me, listening to your story and listening to not only how you have developed your career over the years, but also how you've developed internally. Like, you seem very sure of who you are, and you understand the importance of, you know there are questions that we have inside, and feelings that we have inside that you know can burrow in there for decades. And being able to express that, whether you're dancing, being able to express that whether you're in a safe space with other people who've gone through the same thing, like, that is an important process in just growing and becoming more human. And I think what really ties into everything that you were saying is just this idea of being in the present, and being in a mindset where you're not anxiously worried about things that happened in your past and things that are going to happen in the future. And obviously it's difficult to stay in the present, to always live in the present. um, but I can tell that the body of your work is about that, living in the present, performing in the present, and understanding and being in tune with your mind and your body. Princess, I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I would love to
Thank
have you back
you.
on, but I have one last question.
Yes.
What are you working on, and where can we find you?
Okay. Thank you for that question too. So most of the time I am on my social media. This is Princess Ryan. That's where you guys can find me for any updates, any things that are going through my mind, and all that kind of stuff. But strictly with Kids Groove, you can find us at kids_groove. Again, my website is still in the process of being online and for your kids to learn dance tutorials. But I'm also working with artists actually in the Philippines. I'm trying to help them with their music and have their music featured on Kids Groove where kids can dance to it. And then the artists in the Philippines can give them a shout out, repost their videos, just make them feel like artists or supporting artists. That, just welcoming these kids into that community of artists that support each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in Facebook, but mostly of my Instagram stuff are like tied to my Facebook. I don't really, I'm still trying to be, super active on Facebook, but I don't know. There's just something with Facebook. It's just that vibe in Facebook that I don't.
It takes a while. It takes a while. I've been on
Yeah.
Facebook for like 10 years and I still don't get it. So
But yeah, definitely on my Instagram, this is Princess Ryan, is where you guys can find me. If you guys want to message me, that's where I'll see your messages, and I love replying to my fans or just to people who, would reach out and just want to have a conversation with a human being just like them.
awesome. Well, Princess, again, it was a pleasure. You and Ash are always welcome back on the show. It was a
Thank
delight. Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All
I
right.
appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you do.
All right. Take care, Princess.
Bye.